All right, number one, toss-up. A circular arc of length 3 units subtends a central angle with a measure of 45 degrees. In units, what is the exact radius of the circle?
Grayson, units.
Square root of 3.
Incorrect.
Butler, measure 4.
Incorrect. 12 divided by pi units. Number two, toss-up. A namesake, relatively small, electric type of this musical instrument was developed by Lawrence Hammond during the Baroque era. Dietrich Buxtehude was a virtuoso performer on this instrument, whose use in Camille Saint-Saëns' Third Symphony gives that work its nickname. Name this keyboard instrument in which a bellows forces air through pipes.
Grayson, Noah.
Organ.
Correct. Number three, toss-up. According to Thomas Jefferson, a naturally occurring version of this government is based on talent and virtue. One example is India's Brahmin caste, which society deems the few individuals best suited to rule. In what form of government does a group of supposedly superior people maintain power?
Meritocracy.
Meritocracy?
Yeah.
Incorrect. Incorrect. Aristocracy. Number four, toss-up. As a dramatist, he wrote The Possessed, Just Assassins, Caligula, and Requiem for a Nun. As a novelist,
Grayson, Alex, Salker.
incorrect. As a novelist, he opened to work with Marsaut's lines, Mother died today, or yesterday maybe, I don't know. Identify the Nobel winning author of The Fall, The Plague, and The Stranger.
Butler, Steinbeck.
Incorrect. Camus. Number five, toss-up. As a result of these waves, dogs are aware of earthquakes before humans feel their effects. These longitudinal waves,
Butler, seismic.
incorrect. These longitudinal waves are the first to arrive at a seismic center during an earthquake and have the ability to move through both rock and liquids. Identify these waves, which are often contrasted with S waves.
Grayson, Noah.
E wave.
Correct. Number six, bonus. A semicircle has radius 26 units. In units, what is the perimeter of the semicircle?
I just announced.
52 pi.
Incorrect. Cap.
Noah.
52 plus 26 pi units. Number seven, toss-up. Because salt water has this characteristic in relation to the fish that live in it, the fish can excrete excess salt that their gills take in during gas exchange. When an animal cell is exposed to an environment with this characteristic, the cell membrane allows water to flow out of the cell, possibly resulting in crenation. What type of solution results when there is a dearth of dissolved solute?
Grayson, Noah.
Hypertonic.
Correct. Number eight, bonus. Despite the revolutions her contemporary Isadora Duncan brought to modern dance, she remained a classical, conservative ballerina. She left the Mariinsky to join the Ballets Russes, but spent most of her professional life touring the world as a ballet ambassador with her own dance company. Michelle Falcon developed a signature solo for which dancer named the Dying Swan.
Pavlova.
Correct. Number nine, toss-up. English name, please. This center of learning was founded by Khalid Harun al-Rashid in Baghdad around 800 AD, though at first it was just a library. Under Harun's son, Mamun, it became a formal institution with even Christian and Jewish scholars invited to study. By what name was this early 9th century precursor of a university known? House of Wisdom. Number 10, toss-up. Give the grammatical voice of the verb in the following sentence. Earlier, researchers linked sugar consumption with the risk of developing diabetes.
Butler, Riley.
Correct. Number 11, bonus. After the brakes are applied, the stopping distance of a car measured in meters varies directly as the speed measured in kilometers per hour. Suppose that a car that is traveling at 60 kilometers per hour can stop at 80 meters. What is the stopping distance of the car in meters if it is traveling at a speed of 90 kilometers per hour? Correct. Number 12, toss-up. First and last name required. She left her village in poverty at age 15 and was determined to become an actress in Buenos Aires. By 1943, she was the highest paid radio actress in the country and met her future husband, then an Army colonel, at a fundraiser for earthquake victims. Who eventually married him, became Argentina's popular first lady when he was elected president, and was the soul of the nation when she died of cancer in 1952. Eva Peron. Number 13, toss-up. In a William Faulkner short story, The Longest and Go Down, Moses, this type of animal is the title character.
Grayson Alex. Sager.
Correct. Number 14, bonus. In Gothic architecture, this element is often pointed and helped inspire the vault. Now, an alternative to the post and lintel design, it usually supports loads from above and always spans a space. Identify this architectural curve that often relies on a keystone.
Arch.
Correct. Number 15, toss-up. In infants and toddlers, these airways are frequently inflamed during viral respiratory illnesses, leading to difficulty in breathing. Unlike their larger counterparts, these small airways do not contain any cartilage within their walls. Name the small airways that conduct air from the bronchi to the alveoli.
Grayson Noah.
Bronchial tubes.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Incorrect.
Butler, Riley.
Correct. Number 16, bonus. Consider the acute angle x where sine x equals 3/5. As a fraction, calculate the value of the expression cosine quantity 2x close quantity. Captain?
I just think the answer. 3.
Incorrect. It's 7/25. Number 17, toss-up. France began building this 48-mile project in 1881, but abandoned it because it was getting too expensive and many workers were dying of yellow fever and malaria. The United States took over construction in 1904.
Grayson Noah.
Panama Canal.
Correct. 18, bonus. In this epic, the hero holds funeral games for his deceased father before visiting said father in the underworld. With his mother Venus's help, the warrior battles Turnus in order to marry Lavinia, whom he chose over the Carthaginian queen Dido. Name this epic about the founding of Rome, written by Virgil.
Aeneid.
Correct. Number 19, toss-up. In this operetta, Sergeant Merrill, one of the title figures, proposes to Dame Carruthers. Phoebe becomes engaged to Wilfred, while Colonel Fairfax, who narrowly escapes a death sentence, weds the strolling singer Elsie Menard. Identify this operetta set at the Tower of London, written by Gilbert and Sullivan.
Grayson Noah.
Pirates of Penzance.
Incorrect. Reset.
Team Manley.
Incorrect. Yeoman of the Guard. Okay, 20 toss-up. Did he talk to you about 20?
Okay, we're cutting out the first sentence.
Okay.
Okay. All right, 20 toss-up. Matter in this phase is often classified as amorphous, such as glass or crystalline, such as graphite or diamond. What phase of matter is characterized by having a rigid shape and volume?
Grayson Noah.
Solid.
Correct. 21 bonus. Consider the function g of x equals quantity x squared minus 25 closed quantity divided by quantity x minus 5 closed quantity. For what value of x is the discontinuity of g removable?
Five.
Correct. 22 toss-up. In this case, the plaintiff wished to air a film critical of Hillary Clinton on TV, which would have violated the 2002 Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act. The Supreme Court decision declared that corporations are people. Because of the First Amendment, which Supreme Court case allowed for corporations' uninhibited spending on political campaigns? Citizens United. 23 toss-up. In this specific type of carving, no portion of the model form is undercut. It is possible to make a rubbing of the result, and many museums sell these. Give the word for a sculpture whose carved shapes are only slightly higher.
Grayson Noah.
Delete.
Incorrect. Whose carved shapes are only slightly higher than its background. Correct answer is bas relief. 24, toss-up. Macbeth uses this literary device when he says, "Is this the dagger which I see before me? Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still." Billy Collins uses it by addressing one of his poems to a stranger born in some distant country hundreds of years from now. Give the term for when the speaker addresses an inanimate object.
Grayson Alex.
Correct. 25 bonus. Members of this class of drugs include umantadine, ecyclovir. It targets points in the pathogen's life cycle such as attachment and replication. Identify the class of drugs used to treat infections like herpes and influenza.
Antivirals.
Correct. 26, toss-up. Express your answer as a decimal. Against a specific alternative hypothesis, the probability of a type 2 error in a significance test is 0.15. What is the power of the significance test against that specific alternative hypothesis?
Grayson Phoenix.
0.85.
Correct. 27 bonus. Inspired by Newton and Locke, this philosopher devised a method to examine how the mind acquires knowledge. He considered himself a moralist, but is more closely associated with skepticism and empiricism. Give the author of Dialogues Concerning Natural Religion and an Inquiry Concerning Human Understanding.
Anything else?
Correct. 28 toss-up. Jeffersonian Republicans, however, strongly oppose them as drastic infringement on basic liberties. Name these 4 laws passed during the John Adams presidency.
Grayson Alex. Alien Sedition Act.
Correct. 29 bonus. Scientists believe these zones are created when cosmic rays collide with atoms and molecules in Earth's atmosphere. They were discovered by an American physicist in 1958 and were named for him. Name this pair of radiation belts that surround the Earth.
Maxwell belts.
Incorrect, Kathy.
Yeah, belts.
Incorrect, Van Allen. 30, toss-up. The second portion of this 2-part work begins in 1647 and describes the day-to-day struggles of the tidal location's inhabitants. The first section recounts the settlers' lives in England and Holland before their immigration to the American colonies in 1620. What is this combination history and diary recorded over 2 decades by Governor William Bradford?
Grayson Alex. Plymouth County.
Correct. 31 bonus. Express your answer as a fraction. What is the value of the expression log base 3 of square root of 27?
I was thinking like 1/2.
Incorrect. Ken?
3.
Incorrect. 3 S. 32 toss-up. Name number, please. This king was an avid equestrian and patron of the arts, bringing both Van Dyck and Rubens to England. On January 30th, 1649, on a scaffold erected outside the banqueting hall of Whitehall, he was executed. Name the Stuart monarch whose reign was followed by the Cromwell-led Commonwealth.
Butler Connor.
Incorrect.
Grayson Alex. James II.
Incorrect. Charles I. 33 toss-up. Specific answer, please. These particles form a closed shell when an ion has electronic configuration S2p6. They are lost and gained by atoms in forming ionic bonds and are shared in covalent bonds. What kind of electrons?
Grayson Noah.
Electron.
Incorrect. What kind of electrons determine reactivity for a given element and are found in the outermost shell of an atom?
Butler Hannah.
Valence electrons.
Correct. 34 bonus. This architect included a single tower in his design for a villa whose name in English means folly, and which integrates both the Christian and Muslim artistic styles of his homeland. The architect of El Capricho, who received numerous commissions from Usabi Guel, also designed a cathedral that has been under construction for over 130 years. Name the architect of Barcelona's Sagrada Familia.
No answer.
Captain?
Gotti.
Incorrect. Got it. 35 toss-up, last question of the half. This author was arrested for seditious libel after he published the pamphlet The Shortest Way with the Dissenters in 1702. His final novel, Roxana, was less successful than his picaresque tale of a repentant thief and prostitute. Name the creator of Moll Flanders.
Grayson Alex.
Correct. Yeah, that's a half. Look at the second question. Look at the second question in the second half. Just be glad you're not me.
See here.
I think they do it to torture coaches.
Oh, well, I don't doubt
It's,
that.
yeah, number 41. Or sorry.
Gotta get way
Actually,
back there.
yes, you passed it.
Oh, you mean 42?
Yeah, I think it's 42. Is that it? No, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The third. They're killing me. Jeremy pronounced anything grossly wrong.
No, no. And, you know, when you read the pronunciations within the text, it's like,
It slows you, it kind of messes you up.
well,
a little
yeah,
bit.
it's like,
In your flow.
yeah, I mean, it's, yeah. But it seems like the one before that, it seemed like awful. You know, not this match, not last match, but the one before that seemed like the words were worse in it than any.
I'm going to just start calling it number 1, number 2.
Okay,
Okay.
that's, because we had extra questions the last time, and I was thinking, Oh, I know.
A lot of times the question has nothing to do with it.
I know.
Or not much to do with it.
Yeah.
That's why you can't really buzz in quickly, because you never know what the
Okay.
question's gonna be.
You ready?
I think so.
Yep.
Hope so.
All right, teams, we ready? You ready, sir? You guys ready? Okay. Same captain? Okay. All right, number one, toss-up. If square root of negative 25 is multiplied by square root of 18, what is the product? Huh? 15I square root of 2. 42 toss-up. The first of these two wars took place in 1880 and 81 because Sir Theophilus Shepstone tried to annex the Transvaal of Britain. The wars are named for the Dutch Afrikaans residents who staged a rebellion.
Grayson, Noah.
Boer Wars? Correct. So, I'll go ahead and accept that. I accept it because I. Okay, bonus. What they were looking for was the family, which is war, but then by me accepting it and then changing it, it really mess things up. So you guys are good. Okay, you guys are gonna have to bear with me on 43. It's a bonus. These entities are thought to have originated billions of years ago when a eukaryotic cell engulfed a cyanobacterium, resulting in endosymbiosis. They contain their DNA and have double membrane with a peptidoglycan wall, all containing a fluid called stromal. Name these plant organelles with stacks of thylakoid called grana, which provide energy to the rest of the cell through photosynthesis.
Chloroplast.
Yes. You gotta go through that. All right, awesome. This book of the Bible is the only one to chronicle the wedding at Cana, where a miracle turns water into wine. This book, whose author refers to himself as the beloved disciple, begins by noting that in the beginning was the Word. Name this book that immediately precedes the Acts of the Apostles.
Butler,
Correct. 45 bonus. This character mends Jim's pants and slips a blanket around Scout's shoulders as she watches a neighbor's house burn. He leaves gifts for the children in a tree on his property and stabs Bob Yule to defend them against the man's attack. Name this misunderstood recluse from Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. Rabbit. Correct. That's correct. 46 toss-up. Let y equal x squared minus 3x plus 4. What is the slope of the tangent to the graph of y when x equals 5?
Grayson.
7.
Correct. 47 bonus. This ability is mediated by the alveolus, which produces movement in response to changes in turgor pressure. It is thought to improve the ability of plants to absorb solar energy or to attract pollinators. Identify the ability of certain plants and flowers to move in response to the movement of the sun.
Heliotropism.
Correct. 48 toss-up. The city ranked 7th largest in the United States in the 2010 census. Its basketball team has won the NBA championship 5 times. What city welcomes about 32 million tourists every year who visit such sites as Six Flags, SeaWorld, and the Riverwalk of the Alamo?
Butler,
Incorrect. SeaWorld, the Riverwalk, and the Alamo.
Grayson, Noah.
Houston.
Incorrect. San Antonio. 49 toss-up. This collection of artists who only exhibited together once was later absorbed into the larger Ashkan school. Both groups depicted uni-idealized life in New York City's tenements, pool halls, and saloons. What was the collective name for this group, which included Robert Henry, John Sloan, and Arthur Davies?
Butler Connor.
Incorrect. The 8. 50 toss-up. This founding member of the Atlantic Theater Company gained fame with sexual perversity in Chicago. He satirized American film in Speed the Plow and won a Pulitzer Prize for his drama about Chicago real estate agents. Name the dramatist of American Buffalo and Glengarry Glen Ross. Mamet. 51 toss-up. Point A has coordinates x2, where x is positive and point B has coordinates 0, -3. If the distance from point A to point B is 7, find the exact value of x. Square root of 6. 52 toss-up. This composer set a campaign song that begins, "Yes, the candidate's a Dodger," in the first of his 2 groups of old American songs. The composer, who partnered with choreographer Eugene Laurie on a work that begins with "The Open Prairie," worked with Agnes DeMille on a ballet that includes a Saturday Night Waltz and a hoedown. Name this composer of Billy the Kid and Rodeo. Copeland, Aaron Copeland. 53 toss-up. No, I'm sorry, 13 toss-up. This explorer spent the winter near present-day Chicago, making him among the first Europeans to live there. He established a mission at Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and studied Indian languages in Quebec. Identify this Jesuit missionary who, with Louis Joliet, traveled down the Mississippi River.
Grayson Noah.
Incorrect.
Butler Connor.
Incorrect. Marquette. Number 14, toss-up. This field of science is what makes personalized medicine possible and allows for fields like genetic counseling. Research in this field has made great strides in the last decade due to the technologies like pyrosequencing and Sanger sequencing. In what scientific branch do researchers study the entire genetic complement of organisms?
Butler Riley.
Incorrect.
Grayson Noah.
Incorrect. Genomics. 15 toss-up. This French phrase is an adverb meaning quite the opposite. Give this phrase, which literally means on the contrary.
Grayson Alex.
Touche.
Incorrect. Au contraire. 16 toss-up. Solve the equation square root of quantity 4x plus 1 closed quantity equals 3.
Grayson Phoenix.
Equals 2.
Correct. Bonus. 17 bonus. This dance element includes moments of stillness as well as steps and sequences. Facial expressions, gestures, partner lifts, and both locomotor and axial movements all fall under its heading. Which element consists of any human movement included in the act of dancing?
Motion.
Incorrect. Captain? Incorrect. Action. 58 toss-up, or 18 toss-up. This is a special administrative region of the People's Republic of China that is the site of one of the world's Disneylands. It consists of 3 main islands, dozens of smaller islands, and a peninsula that comprises the regions known as the New Territories and Kowloon. What is the name of this territory, which was a British colony?
Grayson Noah.
Hong Kong.
Correct. 19 bonus. This machine deployed a parachute and used 8 retro rockets to steer. as well as a sky crane maneuver to touch down at the Bradbury landing site. It was launched on November 26, 2011, and although its mission length was supposed to be 2 years, it has been extended indefinitely. Name the rover that was sent to Mars to determine the planet's habitability.
Curiosity.
Correct. 20 toss-up. This novelist incorporated Jung archetypes into Terra Nostra and reinterpreted national myths in a change of skin. He gained international acclaim for a story of a dying, wealthy Mexican revolutionary and his fictionalization of Ambrose Bierce's final days.
Grayson Alex. Carlos Fuentes.
Correct. 21 bonus. The diagonals of a rectangle have lengths that are represented by the expressions x plus 7 and 2x minus 6. What is the value of x? Correct. 22 toss-up. This man earned 2 Best Documentary Oscars for December 7th and the Battle of Midway, respectively. He directed Jimmy Stewart in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance and John Wayne in a number of westerns, including Rio Grande and Fort Apache. Whose 4 Best Director Oscars came for The Informer, The Quiet Man, How Green Was My Valley, and The Grapes of Wrath. John Ford. 23 toss-up. This man sought the Democratic presidential nomination in 1988 and 2008. During his 36-year career in the Senate, he took the Amtrak train from Wilmington to D.C. daily. Give the name of Barack Obama's vice president.
Grayson Miller.
Joe Biden.
Correct. bonus. This metric is governed by the Paul-Ehrlich equation that accounts for population consumption and technology. For plants and animals, it depends on space, food and water supplies, and sunlight, but relies on more complex factors like sanitation and medical care for humans. Name this measure of the maximum size a population can attain in a given environment.
Carrying capacity.
Correct. 25 toss-up. This poet insists that much madness is divinest sense and describes tasting liquor.
Grayson Alex. Emily Dickinson.
Correct. 26 bonus. The diagonals of a rhombus have lengths of 5 units and 8 units. In square units, calculate the area of the rhombus.
20 square units.
Correct. 27 toss-up. This man was originally in the cavalry, but transferred to the air services in 1915 and became a national hero. He was considered the ace of aces of World War I with 80 air combat victories. Name this German pilot.
Grayson Miller.
Red Baron.
Incorrect. Name this German pilot nicknamed the Red Baron, who was shot down and died in 1918, days short of his 26th birthday. Von Richthofen. 28 toss-up. This 19th century playwright helped transform theater from a diversion to a mirror that reflected and questioned society's values. This newfound realism appeared in The Wild Duck and Ghost.
Grayson Alex. Gibson.
Correct. 29 bonus. This type of substance often contains electrically charged microscopic particles that repel each other to keep from colliding. You can prepare one by spraying tiny particles or droplets into another substance or by condensing material in a precipitation reaction. What are these mixtures containing tiny insoluble particles suspended in a fluid such as milk and paint?
Column.
Correct. 30 toss-up. The volume advises the reader to be happy for this moment. This moment is your life. Its poems are a uniquely Persian form, not borrowed from Arabic, and gained fame in the West with Edward Fitzgerald.
Grayson Alex. Bayot.
Correct. 31 bonus. The dot product of two vectors is 2, and the product of their magnitudes is 4. In degrees, find the measure of the acute angle between these vectors.
45.
Incorrect. Captain?
33.
Incorrect. 60 degrees. .32 toss-up. This plays minimalist set and enigmatic dialogue. An essential lack of plot led to one critic to deem it a play in which nothing happens twice. Pozo and Lucky encounter the tramps.
Grayson Alex. Waiting for Godot.
Correct. 33 bonus. This religious group traces its origins to the 6th century AD in the English country of Kent. However, a major event happened in 1534 when King Henry VIII declared himself the head of the group after Pope Clement VII denied an annulment of his marriage to Catherine of Aragon. Named this church, which was part of the Protestant Reformation in the British Isles.
Including church.
Correct. They'd also accept the Church of England on that. 34 toss-up. This unit, less commonly known by kilogram meters squared per second squared, can be calculated by multiplying force by distance. Named after an English physicist, this unit describes the amount of force performed over a distance. What is this most common SI-derived unit of energy?
Grayson Alex.
Joule.
Correct. And 35 bonus. This writer often performed folk music, publishing his collected findings in the American Song Bag. Both his collected poems and Cornhuskers earned him poetry Pulitzers, while a history Pulitzer came for Abraham Lincoln, the war years. He describes the Midwestern metropolis as hog butcher for the world, tool maker, stacker of wheat.
Anything else?
Carl Sandburg.
Correct. And that's the unit.
On the paper?